Have you seen this little pie graph before? Well, it's the bane of many Minecraft players' existence. A feature which cannot be banned or removed by servers, as it's part of the vanilla game. A Minecraft feature which is leading to destruction. Let me show you something. Here we are out in the complete untouched wilderness of my Minecraft SMP. Visually, at least to the human eye, it looks like nobody's been here before, the terrain is untouched, and there's no signs of human activity anywhere. But if we open up this pie graph here, you may notice a few things. Why are there ender chests near here? Why are there enchantment tables nearby? A beacon? Oh, and that's a lot of chests and shulkers. This stuff doesn't generate naturally in Minecraft, so why is it out here in the wilderness? Pieray, as it's known to most players on SMPs or semi-anarchy servers, an infinitely useful tool which changes the way Minecrafters have to play the game, ruining some of the biggest and most elaborate bases I've ever seen with absolutely nothing server owners or admins can do. So how exactly does Pieray work anyways? Well, to open it up, you first click Shift, then F3. Alternatively, you can go into your Minecraft settings and enable the debug profiler, which makes it open with the F3 menu automatically. You'll first be presented with a more confusing pie graph looking like this. Now all we need to use here is tick, which can be accessed by typing the number 4 on my keyboard. If you mistype, you can just type 0 on the keyboard to go back. Anyways, next we're going to go to level, and then we have two options we can go into here, entities and block entities. If we go into entities, you can see that it will display all the mobs as well as other entities within our render distance. If we go into block entities, which is the more important one, it will show a selection of blocks which have extra data associated with them, otherwise known as tile entities. So what blocks are shown on Pieray? Well, here is all of them that will show up on block entity Pieray. Pistons will only show up when extended or activated, and only wither skulls will show up, not any other mob skulls. In addition, entity Pieray also displays a few additional items, such as normal and glowing item frames, paintings, armor stands, and villagers, which we'll discuss soon. Now, why are chests and mob spawners always present on the Pieray out in the middle of nowhere? Well, it's simple. Dungeons as well as other structures where chests generate are almost always present underground, so you'll see these on the Pieray always. Furthermore, you may see a few other blocks such as bells and campfires pop up, and that's because of villages and other structures. And that's basically all you need to know about Pieray, apart from this category called subscribe to the Mr. Epic, which you can enter by clicking the sub button. No pressure. There's lots of other stuff on here, but none is really related to the problem it's causing on Minecraft servers today, so let's move on. So why exactly is Pieray problematic? Well, you see, many of the current popular Minecraft survival servers actually allow raiding and griefing now. Many lifesteal servers, obviously inspired by the YouTuber Lifesteal SMP, get hundreds of players daily. Hardcore servers where you have lives are also very popular, and of course, anarchy and semi-anarchy servers are as popular as ever. Unironically, most public survival servers have reverted back to being raiding and PvP focused as they were in the earlier days of Minecraft. Most of these servers, such as my own, og-network.net, do not feature any land claims or the ability to protect chests, allowing griefing, but unlike anarchy servers, do not allow the use of hacked clients or cheats. Therefore, in order to lower their chances of being found and griefed, most players will opt to build underground bases as far from spawn as possible, making them invisible from base hunters who scour the lands within Elytra. And for the most part, this strategy has been successful. A couple months ago I did a base review stream on my server, and we toured many huge underground bases that had been worked on by various guilds for months, ungriefed. The problem began when Pieray began to become commonplace. You can see that most Pieray tutorial videos are only from 6 months to a year ago, as it's only become a commonly used technique, at least on my own server, within the past few months. Here's what base hunters do to find bases. They turn on Pieray and switch it to block entity Pieray, get out in Elytra, and fly around the world. Once they notice something show up on the Pieray which could only be placed by a player, for example an enchantment table or ender chest, they stop. But there's still a very large area where the enchantment table and potential base could be, so they have to isolate it. Base hunters do this by flying and refreshing the Pieray until the enchantment table is no longer detected to get a general range of chunks the enchantment table is in. Then they reduce their render distance gradually and continue refreshing Pieray to further isolate the chunks the base could be in until it's eventually a matter of digging down and trying to find the base. There are a few tricks to this part as well. You can hold F3 and A to reload the chunks over and over, which allows you to see underground slightly, potentially displaying certain features that reveal bases, such as torches and ender chest particles. Base hunters can also find farms or villager trading holes through the entity function of Pieray, which is relatively self-explanatory, although the entity method is much more uncommon as it can be thrown off by mobs and entities which just spawn naturally. Base hunters will also look for terrain which has been modified by players. The bigger the base, the easier it is to find. Now you may be thinking, that sounds hard, right? Well, not to experienced base hunters and dedicated players. One of the biggest and most impressive bases on my server, made by a guild called the Architects, a base which even won my server base review stream, was actually found using Pieray due to a player accidentally placing an enchantment table and a few item frames within the base. This was an absolutely huge underground base and had so much stuff, as you can see from this world download, taken before it was found. It had a variety of farms, storages, guild member rooms, and much more, all deserving of being named the best base on the server during my stream. Built tens of thousands of blocks away from spawn, underground in an area which looked completely natural and untouched from above, but was ultimately found using Pieray. Now, you'd think, looking at the remains of the base on the server, that the griefers were absolutely ruthless in their griefing methods, stripping the base of every single block, making it seem like a ghost of its past self. But in fact, it was the base's members who stripped it, as the base hunters who found it threatened to grief it if they weren't paid 200k. So the members of the guild who owned the base paid the 200k and spent an hour or so reclaiming every single block in their base, knowing it would be inevitably griefed otherwise. Here are the remnants of another base, shared with me by the base hunter who found it, utilizing Pieray, an end base as a matter of fact. Some players on the server even make money through using Pieray to base hunt and then sell quartz to rival guilds or other players for a handsome amount of money. This base here was found by a notable player and base hunter on the server, Chromatic Prism, well versed in Pieray, was found over 400 bases with a document detailing their quartz. The quartz to this base, with a gigantic 100+ villager trading hole, was sold to another player for 300k, who of course would get the pleasure of griefing it. Ironically, the same player who found the base and sold the quartz had his own base griefed using Pieray as well. And these are just some of the more major examples of bases griefed utilizing Pieray within the last few months on my server, bases which prior to this had been left untouched for months. The power of Pieray is not to be underestimated. So then, how can players avoid it? How can they remain undetected by Pieray? Players have become a lot more wary of what blocks they place in their bases now, and there's a few strategies that have evolved. Storage items such as chests, trap chests, ender chests, and shulkers are all detected by Pieray, but barrels aren't. Many players on the server have specific rooms or underground bases surrounded wall to wall with barrels containing their rarest items, all of which is undetectable by Pieray. If they needed to access specific items or enchant gear, they place an ender chest and get the items out, then destroy them and put them back in the chest once they are done. Furthermore, many players will have separate bases at locations entirely different to their main item stash. At one location they may have large farms with lots of entities such as villager trading halls or gold farms, keeping their item stashes separate, which prevents it from being found if their large farm is. Another strategy is to change dimensions entirely. It's much harder to get to the netherworld border compared to the overworld world border, meaning further out in the nether is much safer, requiring much more time and effort to get to. Therefore, there tends to be significantly less bases in the nether as well, so most base hunters and griefers won't even spend time base hunting there. The end is also an option, but is more risky as it's easier to traverse than the nether, and lots of people spend time raiding end cities looking for elytras. And as we saw earlier, end bases have already been found and griefed utilizing Pieray in the past. So there are methods of countering Pieray, they can just be rather inconvenient at times. So this all begs the question then, should Mojang implement a method of disabling Pieray on servers? Many servers already have rules against it, banning players who are found or suspected to be using it. Well, I personally think so. I've lost count of the number of times players have complained or suggested that we somehow magically remove it, and I'm sure other servers experience the same thing. But on the other hand, utilizing Pieray efficiently and effectively still requires some degree of skill and effort, and makes servers more competitive as guild bases are more at risk and server politics are even more important. It's an interesting situation, so let me know what you think in the comments, and come join my server og-network.net. Bedrock players can join as well. I hope you all enjoyed the video, subscribe, thank you all so much for watching.